Hey guys, today on Rich with Cars, I bring you Ford Mustang Mach E premium trim. Today I'm gonna go on a quick tour of the Mustang Mach E and do a quick exterior review, interior, cargo, and engine. Well, there's no engine on this. It's actually an electric engine, so there's no engine to show you guys. But regardless, we're gonna go on a quick overview of the vehicle. It's actually my first electric, so strap in. Let's take a look. I'll see you inside. The Ford Mustang was actually introduced in end of 2019 and then finally went on sale at the end of 2020. This is Ford's first ever electric vehicle, and the reason why they called it the Mach E was in commemoration of the Mach 1, which was basically the first ever Mustang. And this basically is Ford's first ever electric vehicle. Starting with the exterior, Ford basically decided to integrate a lot of design characteristics from the Ford Mustang itself into the design of the Mach E. And starting off here with the front, we can see that the headlights share a lot of design characteristics with the Mustang itself, as we see over here with the lines on the actual headlights. They gave it a very aggressive look in the front. In my opinion, I think it's probably one of the nicest EVs out there, especially when it comes to crossover EVs. Definitely much nicer than the Tesla Model Y. The area where the grille was supposed to be, they actually kept it flat. And on this particular trim, which is the premium trim, it looks very nice. I like how they actually put the black surround over here to separate the grille area from the remainder of the vehicle itself. I also like how they actually put the Mustang logo in the front. Moving further below, we see that these are active shutters to allow for additional cooling, and they close basically for additional aerodynamics. We see some design aspects here in the front that are very aggressive with the design cut lines here on the lower bumper. I really do enjoy the actual design lines on the hood. As you can see over here, onto the side, we look at the wheels over here. They come with 19-inch wheels. The only downside, and that's probably because of the efficiency, is that they're wrapped in 225 width tires. The fender flares, I like how they gloss blacked out the fender flares instead of leaving them in a plastic unpainted color. Really gives it a more sort of premium look to the vehicle. And then you see some more gloss black on the side view mirrors and then the lower portion of the actual doors as well. Really cool feature on the Mach E over here is the fact that you have no door handles. So they actually kept it very clean profile of the vehicle. So what they ended up doing was you have basically this button over here to open the door with a small grab handle over here. Really nice. Takes some getting used to be honest. And then on the rear door, once again, clean sheet, not even a grab handle. But what ends up happening is that when you push the button to open the door, it actually pops out by itself. And then you grab it from here. The other aspect that I like about the design is the fact that you have a sloping line over here. What they ended up doing to actually give it more of a slope sporty look, they gloss blacked this part out over there to give it a lower stanced look from the side, which I really like a lot. Part of the muscular design that they gave the Mach E are these strong shoulder lines on the hips over here. In the rear of the car, you have a very strong muscular stance, which I like quite a bit. Not very common in terms of EV design, especially when you compare it to the Teslas. And of course, continuing with the Mustang design aspect, they actually put the same type of taillights. The only downside that I would put that they actually placed the rear wiper over there, which they could have actually tucked up under the spoiler. This being an EV, you have your plug-in over here. It's a manual release. You have to push the actual door. It's not like a Porsche Taycan, like where you have to slide or anything. It's just a really simple plug-in door, which I believe is actually better because it leaves less room for mistakes since it's a manual release. One cool feature that I just noticed right now, since these doors don't have any handles, and in order to avoid any accidents from happening, when you open the door over here, you have right there a little safety bumper that stays out so it doesn't allow the door to actually close on your hand. Yep. Onto the interior, starting off from the actual door panel. You have a door release over here. You have your window controls, your side view mirror controls, and then you have your lock and unlock with your memory seating. I like the fact that this car comes with a Bang & Olufsen sound system. I actually heard it, it's quite nice. Then you have your light controls over here, and kind of odd placement for this and for this as well. You have your traction control off and then your maximum windshield defroster. The seats, as you can see, they're 8-way powered. Not crazy about the actual seat design, quite simple and flat. They're okay. I wouldn't say that they're great. Steering wheel design is not great. It's average, I would say. You have some steering wheel controls over here. It's a sensor that basically watches your eyes. And then you have your stalks for the turn signals and your wipers. The thing that I do like on the Mach E compared to some of the Teslas is that you do have somewhat of a gauge cluster over here. The interior infotainment screen, I think, is really, really nice. Ford did a phenomenal job in terms of putting the screen over here. I like how they actually integrated the volume control. It gives you some sense of physical controls. Everything else is digital, including your HVAC controls over here. That's something that we're all gonna have to start getting used to with EVs, in that most of the controls are gonna be integrated into the infotainment system. Camera, you have 360-degree camera with your front over here. You can change some of the views as well. You can open up your front over here. You can open up your trunk. Pretty good layout when it comes to your radio controls and your multimedia controls for some of the different sources. Quite responsive, to be honest with you, on the infotainment screen. Middle console over here, you have a wireless charger over there and another pad over here. And aside from the actual charging pad, you also have a couple of USB plugs, a USB-C and a USB-A. Some cup holders. You have your gear lever, or your gear shift if you want to call it. It's basically a rotary knob. And then you have self-parking feature over here. It shows some parking options, your hazards, and then your parking brake. You have basically an armrest over here. The storage actually falls below that, and quite a bit of storage, pretty deep. And you have some additional plugs over here. You have a 12-volt plug over here, cigarette lighter style. You have your little cubby for the key. One thing I truly enjoy on the interior is this, if you want to call it, panoramic sunroof. It gives you a real sense of openness. Unfortunately, it does not open and it does not darken. It is tinted though, so you don't actually feel the heat coming down on you. You have your HomeLink buttons on the driver's side visor, and some extra cubbies for your sunglasses over here with some lights over there. As you can see over here, you have Whisper, Engage, and Unbridled. Whisper, of course, is the most economic mode, and then you have Engage, which is right in the middle, and then you have Unbridled, which is the sportiest. Rear seating space, I wouldn't say is the greatest. Keep in mind that this being an EV, you have a flat floor over here, so you don't have any sort of space that gets taken up on the leg area. Quite spacious, but not as much as some other EV vehicle. Cool little feature that many Fords have. To open up the trunk, you swing your leg and the trunk opens. Quite spacious here in the rear. But one thing that I really enjoyed about this is, I don't know if you guys see this over here, you see these latches on the side. Those are to take this floor over here, and you can actually lift it up and bring it to that level over there. And what that'll allow you to do is to basically have a completely flat floor when you basically take down these seats. So this being an additional cargo area, being the frunk, this is actually one of the larger frunks that I've seen on EVs. Cool little feature on this frunk though is that you can actually use this as a cooler if you want, and throw some ice in there, because if you notice over here, you have a little drain. Very, very, very convenient. You can actually go tailgating parties and things like that and store a lot of drinks in there and put some ice in there, and it's really, really useful for that. Since we don't have an engine bay to actually talk about the powertrain on this, since this is a premium all-wheel drive, we have an 88 kilowatt battery pack in this, which is the extended range battery pack, and that basically pushes out 346 horsepower and 428 pounds per foot of torque. You have a range of about 270 or 275 miles, which is not bad, not the greatest. Of course, it doesn't compete against Tesla, but nonetheless, it's still pretty good. And it does 0 to 60 in about, I believe it's about 4.8 seconds. Not too bad. This is not the GT, but still quite powerful enough to actually get you around town. So a quick interview here with the owner of the car. Thank you so much, Alex, for allowing me to review your car. Quick questions regarding, your ownership experience. So my first question is actually, why did you choose the Ford Mustang Mach E over any Tesla?
So long story short, I wasn't planning to get a new car. I was actually in a car crash with my Ford Focus RS back in November. Got hit from behind by a stolen car, and obviously it was totaled, so there's no way they could repair that. And I was, starting to get tired as I get older of driving stick shift all the time and, being on the go, and especially Orlando traffic. So what happened was, I was waiting for the insurance to come around on the total amount. Gave me a really good amount, about 41 grand for the RS. Actually, after 4 years, only had about 19,000 miles because I'm always on a plane. I had a friend of mine who came over a few months prior with his Mustang Mach E out of Melbourne. And when he first brought it home, like, this is gorgeous, man. What the hell is this? Because I hadn't seen it yet. And we have Teslas everywhere. So long story short, he's a friend who worked at Ford, and he goes, hey, I have one on pre-order. The one that you just saw, I got it because somebody else canceled. Are you interested in mine? Let me see if it's still there. So luckily, because of the market right now, hey, I can move the reservation to you when it comes in, about 6 weeks later, which is better than the 8 months wait time now. Now, I was doing my research. I was looking at Teslas. I was looking at the Mach E. I was looking at the EV6, which wasn't going to be out for a while. And I knew, because electric and the way things are going, that in a couple years, and after Jeff showed me everything about his Mach E and explained to me you don't have to worry about range and all that, I kind of settled on it. And the number one reason, honestly, was after doing some research with my car and the way the Ford crumpled, I'm like, now I trust Ford with my life, literally, because it saved me and my dog the way the RS took the damage from behind.
He's not getting paid by this,
I'm not getting paid. I show what I believe in. I'm also a YouTuber and influencer. So, but what had happened was I did research, and somebody got into a car crash with this and got hit from behind at like 50 miles an hour. The other car was nearly destroyed. This thing took it like a tank. I'm like, you know what? Somebody messes with me again. So, and then the $7,500 tax credit, which the Mustang still gets you, which saved me on my taxes this year. Tesla doesn't, because they already hit their quota with the government. And again, everyone had a Tesla. I like getting unique cars. When I got this in November, I had maybe seen only one, and that was my friend. Now I've seen like 5 or 6 driving around the city of Orlando, but still a wonderful car. I like a bit of controversy. It's not really a Mustang. I wish Ford didn't use Mustang Mach E and just call it the Ford Mach E, because it's a gorgeous car. It drives great. And no regrets on getting this for electric. If money was no object, I probably would have gone with the Hummer EV or EQS Mercedes, but for 60 grand for the premium and everything it offers, and the tax credit knocking it down to 53 or so, great car.
I agree, definitely agree with you. You briefly mentioned about range anxiety. How do you find the whole network? This not being a Tesla, for example, is it easy for you to find charging stations, and how is it actually having it at home?
So, I installed, I spent exactly $1,200 with a company called Solaris to install a level 2 Volt, which is basically the plug your dryer and washer use, but I had to get another one so it wouldn't trip the circuit breaker. And it's perfectly installed in there. And honestly, if you're not road tripping or driving a commute of 100 miles a day, I charge this thing maybe once every 2 weeks now, to be honest. And then if I'm going on a longer trip, I fully charge it up. But generally, I might drive 10 to 20 miles within a day, maybe 50 at most on the weekend. And I got over it really quick. And, with the built-in Ford GPS, you literally hit a button and it tells you every nearby charging station.
Nice.
A lot of them are slow. This isn't the Tesla Super Network here, but a 4-mile drive for me to the Florida Mall, they have Electrify America. Superchargers, I can get from, I get 200 miles back in like 45 minutes. So if I'm desperate for quick things, but with the level 2 charger here, I get about 200 miles with an overnight charge before I need to drive again. Never have to worry about. So I tell my friends that are hesitant on EVs, that's the least of your worries if you're not driving 100, 200 miles every single day.
For sure. So if you'd be able to actually do this all over again, would you still go back with a Mustang Mach E?
Yeah, I honestly would. If money was no object, probably a Tesla Plaid, just to drive 0 to 60 in 2 seconds and spill my guts out. I honestly think if I had the patience, I would have waited 6 months and gotten the GT, which would have been about $15,000 more, but stands out, the cyber orange color and stuff, and the 3.5. But 0 to 60 and 4.8 on the premium is still pretty damn fast.
Oh, yeah.
It pushed you back in your seat, pushes all my friends in the seat, and it's practical. And it's funny because every EV now is a crossover, right? Because Americans have a lot of shit to move around. We're chunky, and just have so much to push. But the practicality and the frunk is my favorite part. I went on a music festival where we were outside camping for 3 days, and we put ice every day in there, and we had food in there and drinks, and we would just pop up the trunk.
That's
People
cool.
walk by like, why is that guy in his hood all the time? So the frunk is my favorite part about this car, and I wish more EVs were doing that. Just Tesla, the Rivian, and the Ford F-150 truck. So, but for the first EV car that Ford did, man, a lot of people make fun of Ford. I've always made fun of it. I've never, the RS is actually my first American car ever. I had a Civic Si before that. I had a Mitsubishi Mirage garage, a Geostorm as a kid. But you know, to go to this, I had a Kia Sportage at one point, so you know, they did damn good. I'm really happy with it. Purchase worked out for me, the timing with gas prices the way they are.
Yeah.
You know, and people ask you like, how much are you spending in electricity? I don't really pay attention, but my bill hasn't gone up more than a couple bucks every month.
That's awesome.
So it's the least of my worries.
Well, honestly, thanks a lot, Alex, for allowing me to review this once again. And guys, make sure to check him out on his YouTube.
CEO Gaming. Yep.
CEO Gaming, exactly. I'll put the link below. Make sure to check him out. Thanks a lot once again, Alex.
Of course, man.
Cheers.
Rich with cars.
Well, guys, I hope you really enjoyed my first ever review on an EV. I'm sure that many more will be coming as the industry moves more and more towards electric vehicles. But I'm very, very happy to have reviewed this as my first ever EV, being the Ford Mustang Mach E. I really, really like this out of all the EVs out there, including luxury EVs. I think Ford did a phenomenal job. Stay tuned for more EVs to come. As you guys know, Lexus just released the RZ, so that's going to be coming out very soon. So if you guys want, please leave any comments below. Make sure to subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.